Aloha, this is Brad Bordessa from liveukulele.com, and today I want to demo a little bit on Guitar Pro. I'm not sure how I'm going to split these videos up because I tried doing one and it turned out being like 20 minutes. That's just too long. So I'm going to do little pieces. Maybe this first one I'll just tell you what Guitar Pro is, what it can kind of do. It is a tab program. It's like $50 or $60. I think there's a direct download you can get from the Guitar Pro site, but I bought the disc because I'm kind of old school that way. But it's really cool. It's very high quality compared to something like PowerTab, which I was using for a long time, with pretty good success. But it's just not the same as something that is really, all the kinks are really worked out in this. The format is great. It looks good. It's easy to use. You can do anything you can do on a guitar or ukulele, you can pretty much notate in here in one form or another. There's style sheets, you can change the look of the words and the titles and the text and the chord names and everything like that. So it's very customizable. This is a finished tab I did as it appears as a Guitar Pro file in the Guitar Pro editor. As you can see, you can put chord names in, you can name the different sections, verse, chorus, intro. You can do all the articulations like slides and repeats, alternate endings. You can just do anything you can do in a real score, you can probably do in Guitar Pro. So, with that said, I'm just going to walk you through some of the features. I'm not going to try and tell you how to actually do anything yet because that is going to be what makes the video really long. But, just for kicks, yeah. Let's start at the top. You have all your menus of stuff. Most of these menu things you can access through this sidebar here. But there are things like tools you can't get elsewhere, where there's like a tuner and a scales tool, and you can transpose stuff. Lots of options there. A new button to create a new tab. An open button to open old tabs you've been working on. Save button, that's good if you want to save your work. That's kind of important. You can print stuff straight off of here, and then there's a score information button, which is the only one that's kind of interest. But what you can do is you can fill out all your score information in here and save it, and it'll show up as the title, artist, album, tab maker, all that kind of stuff, and it shows up here at the header of the tab depending on what your preferences are in the style sheet. Okay, so in the sidebar here, the first note icon here, this is the notes bar. This gives you all the options of things you can do to manipulate the notes inside of the tab. So you can see a couple of blue things highlighted here. These are the ones that I'm using on this first note in the tab, and it's going to change for each note that you click on. There's going to be different blue things highlighted. The blue things highlight and unhighlight depending on what you click on. If you click on, say this is a 16th note right now, if I make it an 8th note, the blue is going to change to an 8th note. So I'm going to change it back so I don't lose that. So this is where you do all your changes to each individual note. There's tons and tons and tons of stuff you can do. The next window is the tuning window. You can customize the tuning that is displayed on the tab if you want to display it in the style sheet. But it's also the tuning of the playback, because you can, if you have all your notations right, or not even your notations, but if you just put notes in, it plays them back. So that's really cool because you can check your timing, make sure your notation's right, make sure you got the right notes. It really helps you dial it in so you can make not just a good tab, but a good musical section, where you have the actual musical staff and notation that the piano player or informed ukulele player would read, of which I'm not so much one of those. I mean, I read musical notation, but if you don't have to read that, don't worry about it. But if you do, it's that extra level of information that I can make sure that because it's playing back correctly, I know that my note durations are right. And if somebody's just going to read the standard notation and try and figure out what the rhythms are, it's going to be correct. So I like to do that, and it's a challenge for me to practice my musicality and make myself better. So changing tuning, you can change the tuning by clicking on these little arrows here, so you can have anything from a tune to a bass to super high. I'm not even sure how high it goes. You can add a capo on, and that changes the sound of everything. It shows you here what fret, and it also adds a little thing at the beginning of the score that says capo fret 3 or whatever the capo number is. Then here you can have preloaded or saved tunings. For me, I like to have a low G one, but it comes with a C tuning and a D tuning. So if you click on one of those and you want to change it, you click the apply buttons over here, and it changes the tuning, and it'll change the notes that are displayed on the musical staff accordingly. Down here you can change the sound of what comes out of the MIDI player, kind of the MIDI, yeah, it's the MIDI player. Just the sound you can, so like right now, the ukulele sound kind of sucks. I don't like the ukulele sound, but it's really soprano, buzzy, clangy. It gets kind of annoying for just checking your work. So I like using something like one of the steel guitars or something. It's a little cleaner. But you can also have their electric guitars. They don't sound very good, but it gives you an idea. Yep. And then there's also stomp box and effects racks kind of sections on this sidebar, but I haven't even used them because for me, trying to get the real guitar sound out of a MIDI unit is kind of dumb. I'll just plug in my guitar to my pedals and play it myself if I want to hear it like that. And then down here there is a chord library where you put, if you want to display the chords above the tab, you add in a chord, and that chord is held in the library, and you can edit them or change them or delete them, but then you can use them to put it above the tab. And then finally there's a lyrics window where you can type in lyrics. I didn't do it for this one because Matisyahu has quite a fast tongue, and I don't even want to try and keep up with all of the words he's spewing. But you can, if you want to put in some simple words or something for a melody line, you can do that too. So that's really cool. Then down here at the very bottom is your tracks window. This shows you what kind of instruments you have in your score, because you can have a whole list of different instruments, and each one have a different set of tab for it. So I could have an ukulele part, and if I wanted to divide it up, I could make a drum part, I could make a keyboard pad part, I could even, make a vocal part and notate it all out, and it would all display in this track window as a big stack of different tracks. And where there's notes in the tab, there's this colored line, and the color is different for each track, I think. But if you click in this red highlighted part here, this will take you to any part in the tab. And you see down here at the very bottom, it's kind of cool. It shows you where the different sections are as you've marked them above the tab. So like if I want to hop right to the verse, I click here and it'll highlight. See a little gray box right here. You can just jump around to different parts very quickly using it, so that's cool. And then there's volume and pan and EQ and solo and mute buttons. So this is a little mixer that you can use to mix your MIDI sounds that are coming out. The only thing I really do to that is just turn up the volume because it is kind of quiet on its default setting. But that's the track window. What you can do is you can change the information in the track by clicking on this little eye here. Change the name of the track, the short name, the color. If you want to just display standard notation, tablature, or slashes even, which is really cool. You can do that. You can remove tracks and add tracks. You can move their order up and down. So there's lots of stuff you can do with that as far as changing your sounds and actually working on different instrumental parts. And then down here you have parts within a single tab. See how it's grayed out if I click on a different part. I only have a part on the first part section, but you can make like what you'd use this for is for adding like an alternating bass line with your thumb that's going to ring above the melody. If you want to be really official, you can have those different parts, and each part has its own duration and fills the measure with its own appropriate timing. And then there's zoom and things to edit the size of the bars. You can squeeze some things and make other things bigger by moving these blue arrows, stuff like that. I think this is the big play controller for the MIDI. Then down here you have metronome kinds of things. So that's 10 minutes of explaining what Guitar Pro is. That's probably long, but if you're thinking about buying it, maybe, or hopefully it's helpful. I really like it. I think it's pretty cool. It's a great upgrade from PowerTab. If you want something that's pretty high quality and gives you a good product, it's great. I had something like Sibelius and I couldn't figure it out. It was pretty awkward, I thought. Even in like a Mac format, it was weird. It was just like a Word document, but it was sheet music. I couldn't figure it out. But this serves all my needs as an ukulele player. You know, you might want more if you were arranging for an orchestra or whatever, but that's not me yet. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Look for a couple of other ones demonstrating how to actually do things and edit on Guitar Pro. So, until next time, aloha.